90-Day Fiancé's resident Throuple Matt and Amani Jlassi and Haney Aguirre have struggled with their unconventional relationship, and the more time goes on, the more I'm convinced that Amani is actually the issue. Amani and Matt, from San Diego, had been together for 10 years when they decided to bring in a third partner, Annie, whom they met on vacation in Mexico. Matt, Amani, and Annie had been in a throuple for about a year before cameras began following their story on 90-Day Fiancé Season 11. They are the first throuple to be featured on the series. 90-Day Fiancé has exposed audiences to many types of relationships, some more traditional, and some less so. Matt, Amani, and Annie's relationship definitely qualifies as non-traditional. They are three consenting adults who want to be in a polyamorous relationship, but certain things, like geography, are making it difficult. Annie lives in Tijuana, which is just a short distance from San Diego, but in an entirely different country. The only way to bring Annie to the US is for Matt and Amani to get legally divorced, so one can marry Annie and bring her over on a K-1 visa. If traditional relationships are complicated, polyamorous ones can be extra complicated. The individuals involved need to have clear rules and firm boundaries, which Matt, Amani, and Annie failed to set before their Mexican vacation. Early in the trip, Amani discovered that Matt and Annie had been intimate without her. She'd gone to bed, and the two were physical. Thinking there wouldn't be any issues, since they were all together on the trip, Amani became jealous of Matt and Annie's intimate experience because she wasn't involved in it, and she wasn't aware of it. She didn't give them permission, which is apparently something important to Amani. I would think that this is something they would have discussed by now, but they hadn't. Amani's jealousy was also a surprise, since she and Matt have a very progressive view of relationships. I would think that if someone were going to take part in a throuple, they would know whether they were the jealous type or not. I have a theory that Amani is secretly competitive with Matt. Amani is the breadwinner in their family, and Matt appears to be a stay-at-home dad. I think Amani's domineering personality is partly because she's competitive with Matt. When Annie and Matt crossed a boundary for Amani, she got extremely upset and made them feel like they'd done something wrong. This ended up being the impetus for them to establish some rules for their relationship, which should have happened already, but better late than never? Amani said she felt like things were starting to go more in favor of Matt, which proves to me that she is competing with him for Annie's affections. Amani is keeping score, saying that Annie introduced Matt as her boyfriend, and she kissed Matt first when they all met. Amani's motives might be less about being with Annie, and more about her underlying issues with Matt. After Amani found out about Annie and Matt's tryst, she became more defensive and more jealous. She started creating conflict. First by saying that Annie wasn't taking her seriously in the relationship, and then by throwing a tantrum at a winery where they were all enjoying dinner. When Annie said she wasn't planning to reveal the nature of their relationship to her family before they all met, Amani stormed out of the dinner. Annie tried to console Amani, but she said in a confessional that Amani's reaction scared her. When Annie ended up telling Amani that she didn't care about Matt, and that she loved Amani more than she loved Matt, Amani looked relieved. Despite feeling insecure about Matt and Annie, Amani sighed and said, "That's kind of the problem." When Annie said she had more feelings for Amani than Matt, Amani's comment confused me. She's feeling insecure, yet she says the problem is that Annie cares too much about her? It feels like Amani cared more about being more important, in Annie's eyes, than Matt. Amani wanted to beat Matt and win Annie. This feels like it will be a problem for the throuple moving forward. Amani seemed almost giddy to hear that Annie had stronger feelings for her than she did for Matt. She didn't tell Matt for a couple of days, though. However, from my perspective, she seemed excited to tell him. She wants Matt to be focused on her more than Annie, and she wants Annie to be more focused on her than Matt. Amani told Matt that Annie said that she was only in the relationship for Amani, and doesn't feel the same way about Matt as she does about Amani. Amani slightly misconstrued Annie's words, since Annie said she cared about Amani more than Matt, but Annie didn't say that she was only there for Matt. Annie might love Amani more, but she still has love for Matt. Amani's words misled Matt into believing that Annie didn't have feelings for him at all. I think Amani exaggerated Annie's words because she wanted to make Matt feel jealous and insecure, just like she'd been feeling. In a throuple, all three partners must be attuned to each other's feelings. There can't be jealousy in game playing. I'm concerned that, for Amani, this is more about winning than it is about being in a healthy relationship.